This is the brand new BMW i5 xDrive 40. Is it worth the what? Let's find out.
So, Matt, you know how you were just talking about getting a new car?
In like 3 years.
No, but if it was up to you, you'd get one tomorrow?
I would. I'm having that itch again.
Yeah. So what is the first thing you said when you got into this car and started driving
This is the kind of car I want.
You said this is going to be my midlife crisis car.
Maybe not the i5, but like the M version of it maybe. If they change
the M version will be your midlife crisis car?
Yes, if they change the platform to an electric first platform, I would buy it in a heartbeat. I mean, there's a lot of great things about this car, like especially if you're a BMW enthusiast and want to make the transition from gas to electric, they kind of kept all the great stuff about a gas car, but made it feel electric. And now some ways this is great, but in other ways, it kind of holds the car back a little bit, which we'll get to as we talk about features. But what do you think of the car so far?
I love the fact that everything in it feels so premium. Everything, like the screen, the seats, the finishes, everything just feels so premium.
Minus this glossy plastic here.
But that's not an issue for me. That's always been an issue for you. I don't know
like
what other
glossy
material
plastic.
you think they should use.
I would have rather them keep this wood material that they're using on the dashboard. Yeah, because this glossy stuff, like you show scratches very easy, fingerprints really easily. I'd rather them use like the padding or stick with the wood paneling that they have.
I mean, that's a small thing.
No, I'm nitpicking, but
yeah.
like if you can get rid of glossy stuff, it just makes the car feel more premium.
I mean, I don't really care about that. What I do love is this curved display. I find that so premium and so beautiful. It looks like just one big display, but it has two screens. So the 14.9 inch here, infotainment screen, and then you have the 12.3 inch in front of the driver, which is beautiful. It's so crisp and so clear. The heads-up display is so clear.
It is nice. It is a nice heads-up display. And I like how you can change like the graphics and make it look a little bit different.
Yeah, and it's not a distraction when you drive.
Right.
So I find that really great. Let's talk about the seats. I love the seats. I love how they feel. Do you feel like they hug your back the way you always talk about how they hug your back?
No, these seats are nice and big. They feel like I'm sitting on a couch. They're comfortable. They're cushiony. Obviously, you're paying more for the leather upgrade, right?
Yes.
But there is a vegan option if you don't want to pay extra for the leather version, right? It just depends what you want.
I mean, would you pay almost 3,000 Canadian dollars for this upgrade?
It's definitely worth it if you're keeping the car for a long time. I think we should also mention there are two other models of this car. There's the eDrive, which is just rear-wheel drive, and then there's an M version, which gives you same dual motor, but you get a lot more horsepower and faster performance.
Yeah, not sure if I would pay the upgrade for that either.
Well, yeah, because you're reducing the amount of range you get, right? And like, even though this is a decent amount of range, you don't want to go any lower than you are right now.
No, and I feel like this car's powerful enough. Like this goes from 0 to 100 in 5.4 seconds.
Right.
So I feel like that's powerful enough. I mean, if you want it to be a race car, you're not looking at this car.
No, you're probably looking at the 3 Series, like an M3 or an M5, like the hybrid M5, which is ridiculously fast. And don't get me wrong, the electric M version of this can do just over 3 seconds in 0 to 60, but again, like I feel like you're better off with the hybrid version.
Right, I agree.
Yeah. But anyways, look, this is a fun drive. It takes corners well. It is ridiculously smooth. Like it is a very smooth car
I've ever driven. You can go over bumps,
yeah,
and you don't feel like you're going over a bump.
Yeah, the dampening in this car is superb.
Like you don't hear any outside noise.
Great
it's so
noise
quiet.
isolation.
Yeah, the cabin is really quiet. I really feel like this is a smooth car. I love the handling of the steering wheel. It just feels so durable. And
do you find the steering wheel to be a little bit too big?
No, not at all.
No, I find it to be a little too big, but it's very. I mean, this is using the M Sports package, so it is using an M wheel.
Right.
But you know, it's fine. Like it's a very comfortable wheel. I should also mention though, if you want to have the full aspect of driving an electric car, if you push down to B mode, you can put it in regenerative braking, and this will allow you to drive it like a normal electric car.
Yeah.
Because this is not an electric platform, there's a couple of things that you lose out on. So for example, the middle console, there's a lot of space, but if you compare it to a normal electric car, there's more space because underneath it, you have wasted space due to the fake transmission tone.
Which is why you have the hump in the back.
Which is why you also have the hump in the back. So I feel like they could have done more with the middle console if they built this from the ground up using a proper electric platform. I also want to mention that you do have Apple CarPlay. It's wireless. We haven't had an issue with it. It's been working beautifully.
No issues.
You also have Android Auto, which works as well. The only thing I will mention is that if you're coming from like a normal gas car or even like a normal electric car, take some getting used to because there's a lot of digital information going on with these screens. Like, it's a very cool software. It just takes time getting used to. It's like it doesn't know if it wants to be full touch screen or full buttons, because you have a lot of buttons to press, but you can do everything in the touch screen. I feel like some people will get confused.
You don't have a lot of physical buttons
Absolutely. Here. You have modes, you have your parking camera.
You could do it all on there too, though.
I know, but it will confuse some people. There's a little bit of a learning curve. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
There's definitely a little bit of a learning curve. Now, for me, who's in IT, who does tech all the time, I pick these things up quite quick, right? But I know for some people, like if I was to put my parents in this car, they would probably be like not knowing what's lost for sure. So just keep that in mind when you're...
If your parents have more than 2 buttons, they're lost.
That's true. That's very true. It's unfortunate. Like these little things over here, like I didn't know what these were until I had to like look into it. Like the 0 to 1 over here, this basically controls the opening of your vents. I didn't know
until you told me.
Exactly. And then under here, you can control the flow of the air, right?
Also didn't know that either until
Exactly.
recently.
So then when you start touching this, you'll get information on the cluster to let you know exactly what it's doing. I also love the BMW approach of making it the driver first by curving the displays to face the driver while they're driving. I feel that's so important. I also play with the assist feature on the highway, allowing the car to basically stay in the lane, control the speed, and drive for me, which is great for highway driving, and it worked perfectly, and I did it at night. As for the middle console, you have 2 cup holders, you have a charger, 2 chargers in the front to wirelessly charge your devices. You have a little pocket over here that you can open up and place some smaller items, but again, you're losing a lot of that space due to the fact that there's a tunnel. The glove box is a good size. There's a little button that opens up and allows you to access your items. And then the bins on the right and left side of the door, they're not massive, but they're big enough to put a small water bottle.
Okay, so let's just compare this to the i4 for a minute in terms of size. They're both very similar in many ways, but if you want a sedan that is fairly large, I would go with this one, of course, because the i4 is only 188 inches long, and this model is almost 200 inches. So that's a noticeable difference, right? Mm-hmm. And especially if a passenger is sitting in the back, you really notice the difference.
Now, if you do buy these newer BMWs, you do get a couple of software features that they never had before. So you have these BMW iconic sounds, were actually produced by Hans Zimmerman himself. So a lot of these sounds you hear are produced by him, which I think is really cool. Like, I'm a huge fan of Hans. Like, he's Interstellar, for example, beautiful music. So that's kind of neat. And there's different modes you can choose from, like a relax mode if you want to like just zone out and relax while you drive your car.
It is so cool though. Not only does it do that though, it's the relax mode closes the sunroof.
Yeah.
It plays like this calming music for you while you drive. And then of course the ambient lighting switches based on what mode you choose.
Yeah.
Which is so cool. I think this is the coolest ambient lighting I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, it's very like crystally, like it has like a very cool 3D effect. Obviously you can change it to whatever colors you want. It is RGB at the end of the day. And I think it just adds to the ambiance of the car. It's very cyberpunky. That's what this car reminds me of. Like a very cyberpunk, electric forward, not the platform itself, but looking car.
But the cool thing about the ambient lighting is normally in most cars, you can only really get the full effect of the ambient light at night.
Right.
But with this one, it's like all hours of the day, if it's sunny or cloudy or night,
you can see it.
It's just as visible and it's just as like flashy.
Absolutely. And the speaker system sounds fantastic. They're Bowers and Wilkins.
It's an upgrade.
It's an upgrade, part of the Essential package, I believe.
Yes.
And they sound fantastic.
Along
They're
with
amazing
other
speakers.
upgrades as well with that package.
Cool.
You get like the sunroof and you get the heads-up display, which you don't get without that upgrade. Mm-hmm. And a bunch of other things as well. So the back seat has a ton of space. The seats are so comfortable. You have a ton of leg room. You don't have any storage on the back of the seats, which is kind of unfortunate. You have some in the door, but not too much. You have these beautiful Bowers & Wilkins speakers on the door, which are really premium looking. You have small windows, but big enough. They do go down quickly, but I can't show you right now because the car is off. You have a ton of head space. Probably enough for someone who is much taller than I am. You have the hump here, which is unfortunate, but not the biggest deal. You have your 2 USB-C chargers here. You have a little bit of room for some, I don't know, coins maybe. You have your venting here in the back as well. You have 2 cup holders here. You have to push down here on this latch and then it opens up, which is great. And you also have your latches here to install car seats, which is really convenient. You have your ventilated seating, which is beautiful. And of course, my favorite color, which is the violet.
So this is the side of the BMW i5, and it is a long car. As we mentioned before, 200 inches long, and this is with the M Sports package. And the way you can tell is simply by looking at these wheels. You have the blue brake calipers over here, obviously with some M logo. On top of all that, these are the upgraded 20-inch wheels. It looks better with 20-inch wheels, but because it's electric, you are gonna lose some range. So maybe save some money and just get the 19s instead. The color of the car is the Brooklyn Gray. It's like a light gray. I think it looks very good on the i5. Like I said, it's very long. You have the 5 number over here to indicate that this is the 5 Series. You have the blacked out accents to give it a two-tone finish. And you have these wonderful big mirrors that obviously have the ability to allow you to see everything on the side. Now, the one thing with the 5 Series is you always get good amount of trunk space. A lot more than the 4 and 3, but not as much as the 7, obviously. And to get into the back of the car, you can do it in a few ways. 1, you can push the button under here. 2, you can use your key fob, or you can swipe your foot underneath. Now, please don't embarrass me, car. Okay, there we go. Now, once you're in, you have a ton of trunk space. Like, this thing is very deep, and there's little hatches over here if you want to lay down the seats in front of you. They don't automatically pop back. You still have to go on the other side to place them down. But yeah, you'll just get tons of space going all the way to the front. Now, this car also has a lot of sub-trunk space. So not only can you fit your cables, but you can also put a few other items. And everything is electrical, so you can lock the car from here as well, and it will automatically do it for you. Now, the front of the car is probably my favorite part. You have the iconic BMW kidney grille on the front. If you pay for it, you can also get the LED lighting going around it. You'll absolutely know that this is an i5 pulling up to you with the LED lighting around these kidney grills. The bottom is nice and thick. It gives it a very sporty but aggressive vibe when you're driving this car. The front is very long, and this is probably one of my biggest complaints about the car is that because, again, it wasn't built on an electric platform, you just have a lot of wasted space. Like, this could have been one of the biggest frunks you've ever used, but there's just nothing under there. Also, part of the upgrade, one of the upgrade packages that you have options to, you can upgrade the lights to be adaptive LEDs, and it just gives the car more of a seamless look, especially when you pair it with the LEDs around the kidney grille. So here's the thing about the BMW i5. It truly feels like a gas 5 Series, but obviously electric. The transition going from gas to electric will feel very right at home for you if you're coming from a previous 5 Series car. It's comfortable, it's smooth, it's quiet, it has a ton of features that I really, really enjoy. My only complaints is that, yeah, I wish it was built on an electric platform so you'd have a little bit more space in the back and obviously a frunk, but it's still a 5 Series. And if you love a 5 Series, you're gonna like this guy too. And for those of you thinking about buying a Model S, this is more affordable and you get the luxuries of BMW, a better interior and a sound system. So I like that as well. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.